Hello, welcome to Anime Mystics. I'm Roman, and tonight I am watching High Score Girl episode 11. So, this is the second week they've actually released the episode on time, which I'm happy about. Usually, at least the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've had to wait an extra week to get the episode subtitled. Anyway, last episode, we find out what happens after he didn't pass the test to get into the school he wanted to, the one that Ono is going to. I probably should have looked up his name because he's like one of the few that I cannot. High Score Girl. Haruo. Okay. So basically, he got into a second school that he chose, which was the one that his friend was going to. His friend was happy about that, even though he knew he was trying to get into the school with Ono so they could be together. He was still happy that he's not going to be alone at the school that he's going to. The other girl, Hidaka, she ended up going to an all-girls school along with a few of the other girls from her class. I guess she hadn't seen Haruo for a while, and decided to go and walk by his house. And when she did, his mother saw her and invited her in to, chat with him. So she goes to his room and they start talking, and I believe he's got a Sega Saturn that he's playing. And he has not been to the arcades at all. He's just been playing the console. But she invites him to go to the arcade. To get out of the room, go and do what they usually do. So he goes. He's a little nervous because, again, he hadn't been there for a while. And I think he was kind of afraid that he would run into Ono. So she's like, okay, well, let's play this game. I think it was Street Fighter. And it was, I cannot remember the name of the game. I know it does not have Guile, but it has his friend in there, the one that he's very similar to Guile as far as moveset. And so he picks him, and she chooses Akuma and completely destroys him. And he is shocked. Like, he's like, this girl like sucked and was button mashing the first time I started playing with her, and now she knows how to do all these really intricate moves and combos, and basically she's been practicing a lot. So he's getting mad because she's, one, beating him, and two, because he's so weak at the games now because he's not used to playing the arcades anymore. He ends up vowing to himself that he's going to get back into the arcade scene, practice so that he can beat Hidaka. Because if he can't beat her, then there is no chance for him to ever catch up to Ono again. Which, I mean, even at the last tournament they went to, he was nowhere near her skill. But basically, he hasn't been to the arcades. He hasn't talked to Ono. He hasn't even seen her, really. Because he feels like he's not worthy enough to see her. Because he wanted, when he passed the test, he was going to confess his feelings to her, but it didn't happen, and now it's just he's trying, I think, to avoid her, because he doesn't feel like he's good enough. He does see her walking down, I think, the street, and he hides behind a wall. That's where you find all this out. Then him and his friend end up going to Him, his friend, and this other guy, the one that had all the sparkles around him when they were in middle school, end up going to an arcade. And Hidaka sees him there, and she's like, well, let's play some games, and all this and that. So he's like, all right, I've been practicing, so I should be able to beat you now. I think they played Darkstalkers first, where she beat him. Then they played Street Fighter, where she beat him, and then Virtua Fighter, where she beat him in every game they played, making him even angrier because he's still nowhere near her skill. And he goes to the restroom, and she's thinking to herself, that she knows that he's not like looking at her as far as any kind of relationship or anything like that. But if beating him at all these games and keeping his attention that way is all she can do, then that's what she's gonna do. Because she knows that he's after Ono, and she basically doesn't have any chance because he doesn't look at her that way. When he was talking to her before, it was basically because Ono was gone, and she was kind of it seemed like she was kind of interested in the video games, and he was a big gamer, so he was talking to her about the games, and they would eventually sometimes play. It wasn't anything beyond that. So yeah, he ends up running off after she beats him at another game. I forget which one, but she kind of thinks to herself, oh, I might have gone a little too far, because she's not only beating him, she's like rubbing it in every time she beats him. So it's like putting salt in his wounds, basically. But looking forward to this episode to see what happens. I don't know if there's only 12 episodes for this, so it's either going to end next week or it's going to continue. I'm going to assume that it's going to end next week. This season anyway, and they're going to pick up a second season sometime down the line, although that could be wrong. They might just do the one season, but I hope not. I'm hoping they do a second, if whatever comes out. But let's get into this episode. Alright, so the video is going to be located over here, and the link to the reaction is going to be in the description down below. And we're going to start this episode in 3, 2, 1.